And welcome back to another Get to Know Your Mod Author. And this week, I'm technically recording this right after Fadingsignal is coming to be gone next week, the week. Fuck, I fucked that totally. Anyway, this is SomeGuy2000. I didn't get your real name. Do you care to give it?
Just James. I'm gonna stick with my first name.
That's fine. I don't want your full name. Can I have your social security number? I'm a Nigerian prince.
I'm pretty old, man. It would be pretty low as far as numbers go.
This is James, everybody. SomeGuy2000. Say hi.
Hello.
Well, that was boring.
Yeah, I didn't have anything. Just ready. I'm not like a couch tiger here. I don't have anything. I'm gonna have to convene with the voices in my head and come up with a more spirited response. But
so some personal information about James. He lives at I haven't really played any of his stuff, but it seems like we're on the same page. He's done a bunch of quest mods for Fallout that have gotten a lot of good reception. I'm assuming he's planning some quest mods from Fallout 4 from what I've seen of that one teaser picture.
Yeah, that's just a plan. And again, like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get hit. So until the CK comes out, it's just conjecture. But I did some outlines, and I'd like to do kind of an overarching story with certain characters that appear in multiple mods, and that's kind of the general goal.
So I do have to ask, have you watched the other two interview videos?
Just the first one with Elianoras, and just bits of it. I haven't watched very much of it. It was an interesting start.
You haven't really watched the second one, so you really didn't know this was coming. But so I've heard you're doing a storyline with Hitler in Fallout 4, and you're going to portray him in a good light. How is that going to go?
Well, I'm going to make him a synth. He's been reprogrammed, and actually he's going to be a gay fashion designer, and he's actually going to be a much more feeling person. Let's imagine that maybe the young Austrian's art career had taken off, and he had been appreciated as an artist, and had gotten in touch.
You're gonna make me have to mute my mic because I'm gonna lose my shit at some point.
He'd gotten in touch with a more, in a less patriarchal and oppressive outlook.
I would play that mod.
And so, yeah, it's actually it's the good Hitler is what we're gonna say, and he'll actually enrich the wasteland with his kind of impressionist art.
I'm gonna stop you right here. I'm gonna stop you right now because you're gonna fuck yourself. By the way, everybody in the comments below, if you want to see him make this mod. This is the one time where I will say send a message to the mod author and annoy him on the Nexus forums because he's deserving this. Because now I want to play this mod,
dude. I'm gonna get so many messages about these kind of fucking things. Because I'll come up with random bullshit and people are like, oh, you gotta make that. I'm like, you did no. I'm not really gonna make that shit. There's no fucking way. No.
So I forgot.
Although I'm sure the clothes would be good. I mean, it would make for some good clothing mods. Say what you want about the Nazis, they had a good sense of fashion. I mean,
have you seen the Nazi mods that they have out? They've got Nazi uniform mods on the Nexus.
I've seen even for Fallout New Vegas, we had that where it would be one side like Caesar's Legion, where they would do one side they were reimagined as it was like the Eastern Front set in post-apocalyptic Mojave wasteland. And yeah, it's the Nazis versus the communists, and it would be this big battle where I can't. I mean, I appreciate, man. I'm very open-minded about mods. I'm like, I just can't wrap my head around that one, with the setting. But to each their own. I'm very again laissez-faire about mod selection, as they say.
Really, you're gonna use laissez-faire? People are gonna be Googling that now, right?
Oh well, I mean, let it all fly, man. Who cares? I have.
Well, they should be Googling it. They get some culture.
Yeah. That's what I'm adding. Culture, yes. The fashion, the fashion designing Hitler. That's culture. Although, from an artistic standpoint, perhaps we'll inject some.
You never know.
Yeah, post-romantic. Yeah, impressionism. Yeah, that'll be great.
Actually, I think you'd get a lot of hits if you had Hitler and Preston get together.
Oh Jesus, that's my mind is going places, and I'm just gonna fucking.
all right. Let's just jump here. You can offend everybody. Have you watched?
They would be a couple. They would be a couple, is what it would be, and that's exactly where I would go. And it would start, and it would be kind of an arc, kind of a Breaking Bad thing. They would start on a good end, but the quest for artistic purity would lead to an artistic cleansing of the wasteland, as Preston and Hitler. Yeah, and that's exactly what would happen.
That's a good one.
One settlement at a time. Yes. They would up the artistic standards of the wasteland. That's exactly what would happen.
I'd still play that mod. So I got called on this one. I forgot to ask Fadingsignal, and I pretty much, after talking to you before, I pretty much know where you're going to go with this one. But what are your thoughts on the slutty mods and the objectification of women mods and shit that, is generally on the front page of the Nexus?
Honestly, personally, I mean, I don't use those mods, but I really, again, I don't care. I mean, if people want to use, and part of that comes from making, let's be honest, quest mods are, a lot of people don't even use them, and and they're subjective, and a lot of people will give very, shall we say, spirited feedback in regards to quest mods. And again, because they're very complex and they alter the actual narrative of the game, and so you're going to get very strong reactions from players and about lore, about storytelling, characterization, things that they care a lot about. And as a result, some people are naturally very picky, or you can get outright hostility. And because of that, I guess over a few years, I developed a point of just absolutely live and let live. If you want fucking magical starfish ponies that shit out rainbow kisses and flowers from heaven, and shoot fucking laser beams out of their eyes and tentacle rape Hitler in the fucking settlement, Preston Garvey, then you can fucking have it. All right. I'm not going to judge you. That's your fucking thing. I filter that shit out. And honestly, that's probably why I just don't even notice it. I filtered out so much stuff with the settings on the Nexus that, I just don't notice it. To each their own, man. That's how I feel.
No, fair enough answer. And something what you did just bring up, which is it's very true. The quest mods and the people that's being like, what was your drive to actually start doing quest mods as opposed to anything else?
Because my background's in liberal arts and history. I mean, and I didn't know dick about programming, and from the technical, I just wasn't drawn to any of the technical side of it. I just wanted to tell stories set in the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, because I had played the original Fallouts years ago, but I didn't really get into Bethesda's games until Oblivion and Fallout 3. Excuse me, right about the same time, 2009, 2010. And when I discovered the quest mods, when I found the quest mods that were out there and what you could do. And just the sheer variety relative even to the vanilla game. You got these very different storytelling. Like, take somebody like Poos Moose for Fallout. He makes these very detailed, intricate puzzle quests that have no dialogue, but they're all the narrative is advanced in puzzles and prose. And then on the other side, you'll get obviously the quests like mine that are just extremely profane and ultra violent and everything. But you get a huge range of creative styles that you don't even get in the vanilla game selection sometimes. And when I found that, I said, all right, well, I at least want to try, because when you play through these games and they're so open-ended, I said, all right, well, what if you did this or this, added a story here? And they're missing things like bounty hunting or boxing and stuff like that I've made. And I said, well, like for Fallout New Vegas, because I played Fallout 2 a lot, it's like, well, shit, they got to have boxing. And that was something I wanted to do, but I just didn't have the skill. And so I tried to start with Oblivion, partly because the setting was so open-ended, and I knew I was frankly just a little more comfortable with it as opposed to Fallout initially, even though now the irony is I'm much more known for my Fallout mods. I just tried to make something simple at first. The first mod I made was actually kind of a battle mod, but it was so terrible and such a clusterfuck. I just took it down. I said, all right, let me start over, do something simple. And so I made a dueling mod where it's kind of an NPC mod where you find different kind of scripted encounters based on your decisions in the game, or sometimes just random events where you have people that challenge you to fight at different places. Like say you're head of the Fighters Guild or whatever, they're going to try to break your balls about it. Or you just walk in on this guy having an argument with his wife, and she tries to hit on you, and he's like, "Get away from my wife, you son of a bitch!" And he's drunk, and you got to go fight that asshole outside, and other stuff like that. And it seems stupid, but it was just a way for me to script very simple events and to try to take steps towards storytelling, doing the things that I'd like to do. And I was just trying to make functional mods back in 2010. And when Fallout New Vegas came out, I was like, all right, this game needs some bounty hunting, because they had a quest line called 3-Card Bounty, which everybody liked, but it was still a little truncated. It was a great vanilla quest line, and it was very popular. I liked it. And I said, all right, what if we add on to that? It's already kind of a Western-themed game, and that's a genre I'm pretty comfortable with. So I tried to just take some of the zany shit from Fallout 2, which is very pop culture, wild wasteland heavy, And I said, that's kind of the style I'm going to go with. Don't take itself too seriously. And it's just real simple FedEx kill quests with a lot of fun dialogue. And I voiced the main character, and I've voiced too many characters. I've patched that shit out since, because I've learned what I can and can't do as a voice actor. That's a good lesson to learn. But
there's only so much you can do before people start to catch on.
Yes, absolutely, and again, it's a pain in the ass with that actors going AWOL, but you got to be disciplined about it. It's hard lesson for me, but yeah, Steven people like the character and the dialogue, and so I got a lot of great feedback on that. And I said, well, shit, I'd kind of done a lot of foreshadowing, and a lot of it was just me. I was making it up as I went along. There was not really any cogent design because, again, I didn't even know if the fucking thing would work. I just wanted to tell a bullshit story and kind of set up if people like it, then I might be able to make something else. And it got a huge amount of response. And so I said, oh shit, I've got to follow this up with something good and proper. And so I try to do with each mod is try to kind of get out of my comfort zone and learn new techniques. And with the second one, I tried to invest myself more in providing more actual role-playing options for the player, because I didn't really do that in New Vegas Bounties 1. And again, my background is largely up until I played those Bethesda titles. I mean, I'd played a few big RPGs, but most of my background was in, say, strategy games and things like that. And I didn't have a very... Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, I want to kind of segue a little bit on that one, because I just wanted to point... There's something out for the viewers just to think about the modding process is that you're not really doing this for the consumer base. You're modding because you want to, and it's a drive that you have. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the enthusiasm from the community, like, it gave me so much confidence. Yeah, I didn't have that much confidence in my writing or characters or anything. I said, all right, I'd studied history, I didn't study English, and I said, all right, let me just give it a shot. And when people were like, hey, I like this, keep doing it, and it gave me such a sense of pride. And I said, well, all right, I feel good about this.
I was gonna say, that's where I'm hoping that Fallout 4, like I was mentioning before the video to him, he's gotten a lot of downloads on those mods, and it's something I literally just checked while you were talking, because I was curious, and because the amount of work you probably put into that quest mod was probably insane, even being as simple as it was. Learning things takes a while, and it's kind of surprising what comes out and what, like you said, the lore Nazis and the people will be harsher on quests. I don't know if we said that in this interview or when we were talking before.
It's very true. Yeah, absolutely true.
And but I mean, like we with a team did Molag Ball's Inferno. It was 10 people, worked for an entire month. There was thousands of hours put into the mod. It has 8-9 hours of gameplay. It has less downloads than a mod I did for Fallout 4 that took me less than a minute and a half to do. Stackable Concrete Foundations has more downloads than something that took 10 people, a conglomeration of mod authors, a month, like, nonstop working to do. And it boils down to that thing is like, we really didn't do it for them. We did it to learn more and learn from each other, and because we had a drive to do something. And it's like you said, it's great when the community it's great when people, like, that'll segue another question. What's the worst fucking comment you've ever had?
I mean, I've had people threaten me. I've had actors. I've actually had a crazy actor threaten me. Yeah, I had a crazy actor. He was a scorned Irishman. He threatened me. I told him to go fuck himself, more or less. And
wait, so it was a voice actor?
Yeah, I cut him off because he was a fucking nut job, and I said, "Look, you're too high maintenance for me." And he threw a fucking fit over email. And,
speaking of, because you've probably had that issue too. Now that you're saying it, what voice actors? Do you have an issue with them? Because I sure as fuck do.
I know it's a mixed bag. You get, and here's the irony is, like, I found that the best voice actors, like, in terms of their actual acting ability, tend to be the most professional. Where I have and they're fantastic, and I can name
100%. I've got a bunch of. On the list.
And you know those, all right, and you become like a director with a certain cast. Like, you see directors with certain actors, and because you get familiar and comfortable with these people, and they are comfortable with your writing and your mods. And there's a mutual trust there. Where you run into problems is like when you're trying to cast small roles and you get unfamiliar people. And they're like, oh, I'm great. And I'm like, okay, send me a sample. No, really, it's great. No, send me a sample. And they send you a sample. It's like, okay, this is work. And then you don't fucking hear from them ever again. And then you got to recast the bullshit, or you try to fucking do it yourself. And people are like, this fucking sucks. You're a disaster.
And before everybody gets on our asses about this one, we know it's free. We know people are offering their services for free for something. It just gets really, really, really frustrating for a mod author when, like he said, you have to go and recast the role. You're sending them emails for a week trying to figure out where they just disappeared to. And it overshadows the great ones, unfortunately, who are like, your backbone. And then all the
Yeah,
other fucking bones just go flying off in other
yeah.
directions.
I've been fortunate. I mean, I can say that I've had guys like Grey Coyote, Jace 180, fucking Unshaven. When I'm talking fucking rock solid, talented voice actors that I can call on. Yellow Dart is another one. These are guys. I mean, and Fallout's a smaller community. These are guys that came out of Fallout, the Fallout New Vegas community in the forums, and I was able to find them, and they have voiced all kind of characters, and they've done great. Like Grey Coyote voicing Marco, my big antagonist. He was just phenomenal, and that was a huge script. I mean, probably. 800, 500, 600 lines that he did just for that character, and he positively nailed it. And he made the mod in some ways with his delivery, and so it's a mixed bag. That's why it's frustrating. And again, it's the small roles and the small stuff that kills you in the end. I found it's not the big roles as much as I would have thought that when I started modding.
And one of my issues with it too is like what you just said. He made the like that's when I cast, I'm excruciatingly strict in how I cast because what you just said, we'll put in 99% of the work on the mod, and it's not to just detract from the voice actors, but that 1% to 4% they do or whatever actually makes it. It's having the voice of your character it's huge.
Yes.
It really adds, I mean, it's the difference between having Bobcat Goldthwait voice somebody and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd actually kind of like that, but yeah, but I mean, and to be honest, it's made me have to become a better voice actor, and it made me break out of my shell. Like at first, I was really part of the problem with New Vegas Bounties 1 was I was really hesitant with some, and I know that seems counterintuitive in some respects, but I was really. There wasn't much confidence, but I went like when I made a goofy Hitman mod, New Vegas Killer later. I just went balls out because I didn't care, and people ended up liking it. And so with certain, it made me a lot more comfortable. But I learned like to voice ghouls, to voice mutants, things like that, and I've gotten pretty good. I'm not great, but I'm pretty good. It's workable. And like a mod like the Better Angels, I did all that shit myself. But that was after years of developing talent, also knowing how to improve my range and make characters sound distinct. But that's a technique that I learned out of necessity because shit happens with voice actors, and sometimes unless you want to wait for another month or 2 or 3, you have to voice the mod yourself or voice certain characters yourself. It's just the way it goes.
I'm gonna pause 1 second. I'm gonna stop the recording for a second. Okay, so we had a problem. Preston Garvey interrupted us and was asking us to go save a settlement. So Hitler raped him. So we're segueing into it. I started, and then we had to edit it out. James, what's your thoughts on paid modding? Just hit it from the get-go, all inclusive. Just go for it.
In general, I support the basic idea of paid modding. I think it's they need to have some certain caveats with that. For one, absolutely not. If we're looking for how not to do it, Valve and Bethesda's initial attempt, it's a pretty good template. I mean, it was very poorly planned. They didn't take into account all the legal entanglements that could ensue when you tried to have different modders taking assets from other modders and charging for those. And there needs to be
none
a
of us
better
have
vetting.
ever brought up the theft thing. I didn't bring that up in the last 2 videos. We didn't really hit
Yeah.
on the theft.
I mean, and they just need to deal with it like any other business does. There need to be and part of that I think could be accomplished by vetting the mods in a better way, not just letting people put them out there initially. There needs to be some type of screening process. Obviously, a pretty liberal refund policy for users because mods. Go ahead.
I was gonna say because you're gonna segue into they can break the game, but I was gonna say I've made jokes about it to people, and they're not really jokes. They're more like realizations that I was like, well, the moment they do paid modding, I was like, somebody's gonna make thousands and thousands of dollars when they upload a compilation of my mods before I catch it.
Yeah, and that's where you need to have some type of process where people can't just assume an identity and upload shit. They need to have a vetting process, some type of thing, or perhaps a mod has to become established first before it can have a paywall, something along those lines. And again, I'm speculating, but I think there needs to be a better process of vetting mods before they're put out there. And I think Bethesda, honestly, I do think they're going to try again at some point. It may not be Fallout 4, but there's too much volume and too much potential cash there. I mean, it's a huge potential cash cow for them.
Oh, it's an untapped giant, like especially turning it into consoles.
Oh yeah, and I think it's going to be huge, absolutely huge, and a big paradigm change in some ways, exposing a whole new market to this thing that PC gamers have enjoyed for decades. And I think that it will be a net there are going to be a lot of problems, and again, legal issues that can arise. But I think for somebody like me, and especially for content creators, it would change. Like for me, it would change my life. I mean, it really would, and it would allow me to do something that I love. And then look, I'm going to make mods no matter what. I can, and the question is how many will I make, and with how much quality will they be, or how much quality will they have? Like, I'll be able to pay.
And people don't even understand. Like, you've got, say, 900,000. Let's round it up to 1 million. Let's say from your Quest mod, you've got 1 million downloads, and if you were to make 10 cents off of each of those downloads, and then go with the realization that half those people would then not pay for it, if you had 500,000 downloads at 10 cents a pop, you'd have been a very happy camper for those 500,000 downloads.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I don't even want to. I'm realistic. I know it's not DLC, and I wouldn't charge anywhere near DLC rates enough to let me make a living, to do it full time, and then I would commit myself to it like a novelist or something.
Well, and the quality increases then. Like like I was talking to people saying that I was not even making a joke about it. Somebody listening to this point is gonna be like, he's gonna do that. Yeah, if I compile all my mods, my crafting mods, I'd put them up for $1. Whatever the minimum would be. If I could put them for 50 cents, I'd do it. Yeah. And 3 million people downloading something at 50 cents where I'm getting a quarter out of that. So I'm getting 50%. And that's if Bethesda's nice, apparently. But if I got a quarter out of 3 million people downloading it, I could literally fund my own DLC, like bigger than a DLC, a mod for Skyrim. And I'd throw all the money back into it. And like I said, it'll allow content creators like you to actually, you could hire voice actors. We wouldn't be dealing
artists,
with that.
Voice actors, all that shit.
3D designers.
Yeah, and you can still give it, and it'll still have a unique flair and design that will reflect that author's taste and style. It'll be like choosing a novelist or something like e-publishing or something like that. And to me, that's kind of what I would compare it to. And I'll say this also. Again, my goal would be to make a living, and I know some of my mods I would never release for money. And in a way, I would probably still try to adopt the CD Projekt Red method, where occasionally, or even a good portion of my mods, I would still release for free, and they wouldn't be dependent, like smaller mods, like my boxing mod or Bad Motherfucker, stuff like that. That's just really small or goofy. I wouldn't hesitate.
So you wouldn't be like some of the people in the Steam sale and release, boxing for $7.99.
Oh God, no. I mean, absolutely, because it took me 2 weeks to make, but like the big Quest mods, yeah, and I think that's what people would be willing to pay for, is large scale Quest mods, especially that are interconnected and have just stories that they want to, extra stories in the experience, and I think that's especially true in Fallout 4. People are dying for that. There's such a lack of side quests in Fallout 4. I mean, God, I've got people messaging me every day saying, when are you going to make more content? They don't want necessarily mine. I mean, some do, but they're dying for quest content in general for Fallout 4, and I think there'll be a big demand for that. And if Bethesda rolls out paid modding with Bethesda.net, and again, they're so fucking quiet. I don't know it's like the CIA. I don't know what the fuck Bethesda's doing, but if they do roll it out, I for one will be happy as long as it's got some, as long as it's user friendly in terms of the refund policy, and it gives the modders a fair cut. And I understand, and look, I'm realistic about it. It's Bethesda's intellectual property. They're probably going to pull a majority of the cut, but and it is their right to an extent. But I think that I would definitely be on the pro paid mods bandwagon.
I gotta take two contentions. The CIA is much more open than Bethesda.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think Bethesda's a bunch of cunts, generally speaking, in terms of how much cut they wanted for doing literally nothing before was 45%. If Bethesda came out the gate and they just made a symbolic gesture and did 51% to the mod authors and 49% to them, like that would actually, I'd still know it was symbolic and it was just a gesture, like they actually didn't give a shit, because I don't believe they do personally. I know that their company, their job's to make money. I really don't hold that against them. I just think I just hate stuff that when they're like, we want to do this for the community. No, you only wanted paid money and bonding to line your own pockets, because they won't allow us to make money outside of them getting a sizable cut. But
I can do, yeah, especially like Patreon and things like that. They don't, and that is a reflection of the fact that they don't want you making money off of it without their cut.
And like I say, if they did a 5149 in favor of the mod authors, I think as a symbolic gesture that would be huge. And
I would love it. I would do a fucking handstand. Believe me.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either. But to be honest with you, even if it was 30 or 40%, I would. That's more than I'm making now. I mean, that's partly, and I know that's kind of a shitty thing to, that's kind of the, it's like one
slave labor mentality.
Yeah, in the Gilded Age, the guy's like working for, and I'm working 20 hours a day for 10 cents a year, and the railroad baron's like, he's lucky to have that. I'm going to give you a 1 cent wage. It's like, thanks, Mr. Whatever the fuck, robber baron. And and we're supposed to be thankful. I get that, but at the same time, I'm realistic. I know that this is kind of it's terra incognita in terms of
it's true.
Selling games, and we're in bold new territory here, and I'm willing to be flexible. I mean, and to be honest, again, the part of me in my brain is saying I could still make a living from that. I'm pretty confident I could.
And I might forgive it as well if they just release the tools. We were having a discussion on Reddit earlier today about that with some people, and they're like, just release the tools, like not just the CK, release your NIF plugins, just give us all the tools you had to make it if you want to profit off it. That's all we ask. We're pretty simple.
I bet you what they're doing is they're building a tutorial site and kind of a rudimentary wiki, and Bethesda.net, that's the big unanswered question. Nobody knows dick other than it's going to be a platform for consoles. We don't know if it's going to be paid, unpaid, if there's going to be ad revenue, whatever the fuck. And so it's a big question mark for me. And we're just, again, you can try to ask Pete Hines, see how far that gets you. But I don't know.
I think I can get more response, like intellectually speaking, from my cat asking him about what's going to happen.
Oh, my cat definitely could. I mean, she's communing with fucking spirits across the world right now. So yeah, telepathically, yeah, she's already fucking.
She's probably communing with my cat, who's just rolling around on the floor.
Yeah.
So I have no idea, because I've had to cut this audio twice, how long we've been going on. It's been at least 25 minutes. So I'll just, anything you want to say to people, like, give them any clue onto what you're planning for Fallout 4 to just tease the crap out of people, or just anything you want to say at the end, just go for it.
Okay, Fallout 4, I'll start with that. I'm making Murder Inc. That's the first one I've outlined, and that's kind of a film noir murder mystery / Hitman series that involves the main character, the quest giver, is a character that they know, and I'll leave it at that. He's
Nick Valentine.
No, not quite. It's,
really? Okay.
No, from my mods. It's
okay.
They know. He's a very loquacious, classy gentleman. We'll leave it at that.
So you're gonna pull a fall? Because it's only a 10-year difference. So you're just gonna merge it. Nice.
Oh yes.
Nice. I might have to play your mod now.
Well, if it depends on which. Feel free, man. But they're just brace yourself for a variety. There's a range of quality in there, but and style. But Murder Inc. will be largely kind of an organized crime, gritty. I'm not going to touch any of the synth stuff. Will be peripheral. It's not really something I want to stay away from the vanilla content and themes, because I mean that's Bethesda's territory. I want to try to cut out a little small niche area in the game world, because I really like the Good Neighbor, and I like the tone and say the bar and the sound there, but I want to expand on that and take it a step further. I mean, there are things like that they don't touch on, like slavery and prostitution, drug abuse, chem abuse. I mean, maybe they touch on it a little bit, but it's a little it's a little more rosy colored than Fallouts in the past, I think. And I
agree with you. You're right.
I'd like to reconnect with some of that the nasty underside of humanity, which would certainly be present in a setting like that. And some really gray morality and factions, and that's it. I mean, and the thing about this mod is it's still relatively small. It'll have hopefully choices with consequences, but it's nothing too big, because I know it's going to be a new toolkit. So I'm trying to be conservative in planning it, and the voice acting needs will be very minimal. And in terms of the voice acting, the voice protagonist, I'm hoping to sidestep it for that first mod by using a lot of holotapes and notes, because I just don't know how it will function. I think we'll find a workaround for it.
Oh, that's right, because we only got the 4 options, don't we? When you
exactly.
talk.
Yeah, and it's going to be a pain, and that's why, like, again, later mods, I hope to do bigger things with actual in-depth dialogue and whatnot. But and that'll probably be a Minuteman expansion, but it would be a kind of and it would be inspired largely by like some of the militia units in the French and Indian Wars and Revolutionary War.
I'm going to diverge a little bit and probably makes people's eyes glaze over. But you know how the dialogue tree in Skyrim worked?
As far as the it's like a kind of viz script system with a spaghetti bowl and shit connecting stuff.
Yeah, and so you could probably, I'm guessing, if you got your 4 options, one of the options could be I need more options or some crap, and then you have 3 more, and then one of those is go back to the. So I mean, I guess you could probably expand, but that would get really clunky really fast.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to. Deep down, I'm gonna have to just have fun. You know, what is an option? What is a synth? What is a baby? What is those fucking dumb dialogue? It's like the low intelligence dialogue options, but Fallout New Vegas. But that's what it felt like sometimes, man. And I'm just like, this is not my character. I mean, I know he's been through a lot. Maybe he's got some PTSD and he's a little shell shocked, maybe concussed.
All right, hold on. Let's bring up my biggest issue with the game. I don't know if you show up at the Institute. And your 75-year-old son or whatever is like, I'm your son. And the first thing out of your mouth is not a paternity test question.
Yeah, after all that.
You've just, like, not to mention you've just had to murder, like, hundreds and hundreds of people to get to your kid. And then there's that's why Ash is getting a paternity test. Like, not a chance in hell that isn't happening.
I'm going to tell you something. I killed the kid. The 75-year-old kid. I shot him in the chest. I'm like,
I did too, and then I couldn't escape the Institute. I don't know if it bugged out.
I fucking killed everybody. I didn't. I said, in my mind, I think it was the son's dead to me. He's fucking dead. These people.
It's exactly what I did, but they locked me in. Like, I shot him, and the little kid in the room was running around screaming after that. I don't even know if that was supposed to happen. And then I couldn't exit any doors because they were all locked. So I was basically just locked. I don't know if it bugged out or if I was
probably bugged. Yeah, I shot him when he was laying in the bed. It was a little later, and he was supposed to be pitiful. And I'm like, well, I'll make it quick. I was like, that's nicer. That's better than cancer. Subsonic 22 to the head. That's better than cancer. But that was kind of how I handled that. People were like, oh, fuck, this took a dark turn. But, I mean, that's how I felt.
Well, that's because there wasn't really much of a connection to the characters, I guess you could say.
None. Yeah, none.
There was zero.
Yeah, if it had been the wife or somebody. But I didn't. I was much more connected to the people from the settlements and whatnot, and certainly the companions. And I generally like the companions in Fallout 4. They're not as strong as the New Vegas ones, but they're better than Fallout 3's companions, certainly. And again, Bethesda they made some improvements. As hard as I am on them, I think they did some good things, or tried. But they did just, yeah. I can go on, but to get back on the quest stuff, I know I'm going all over the place, but that's my plan for Fallout 4 is to address some of the needs for side quests and maybe make a boxing mod, whether it's for the combat zone. I know there's probably going to be a half a dozen people making a combat zone mod, so I may just make an underground boxing one, a bare knuckle.
Thunderdomes.
No, it's ready made, dude. It's ready to go. All somebody's got to do is jump in and do it, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people doing it, and that's fine, man. If somebody else does it, I'm like, cool, because I just want to keep making quests.
So that's why I shot my quest into, like, you're saying start smaller, and Vault 273 is I'll give a little teaser to some people who've actually listened this far who are interested. 273 does refer, it's actually negative 273 if you look on any of the things in the prelude quest, and it does refer to the Kelvin scale because my mod does not take place on the planet. And it's going to be, like, I'm shooting for insanity. Like, nobody's going to touch this sucker. And I'm setting myself up for probably 6 to 8 months of hell. But
dude, go for insanity. Fallout will embrace it. Like, man, one of my greatest regrets is that I didn't make my Area 51 mod, which was about aliens who steal penises and they synthesize hallucinogens and abuse them chronically. And, like, they're these aliens on fucking LSD flying all over the place stealing
now
dicks.
You're making my scene sane because the aliens are going to be involved and they're going to be like, but it's going to be like tying into the entire lore. I'm like, man, fuck that. I want to make aliens that kill Hitler.
No, dude, I'm seriously, like, play Old World Blues, man. I mean, it's fucking, if you're going to go Wild Wasteland, go all out. Don't hold back, man. And Fallout will but some people are like, that's not a lore friendly. You play Fallout 2, you got characters breaking the fourth wall and all kind of weird,
Yes.
crazy shit in there.
Yes.
Fuck it, man. Just have fun. People aren't playing it. There's like fucking Wasteland 2. If you want more grounded post-apocalyptic shit, you got that. Fallout still has a goofy side. I'm one of those people that totally embraces it. Now, and again, my mods, some are goofy, some are more serious, but I do like the goofy side. And I think
that's why it'll be interesting to see how well Deadpool does, because as far as I just like I'm looking. That's the Valentine's Day movie for me and my wife. We're literally going to see it on Valentine's Day, going to a dinner theater.
I'm gonna go see it. I don't know if my wife will see it. I'm looking forward to Daredevil season 2 quite a bit. But
that would be good. Yeah, I just want to see Deadpool just because it's like you said, it's an out there Marvel one where it's just he breaks the fourth wall, talks to the people.
Yeah,
like
he's crazy.
I like the crazy. I've always liked the crazy, and it showed in any of my Skyrim mods. They're just fucking insane.
Yeah, but it's distinct. It's not predictable or conventional. I think that's great, and I think that's
just because I'm insane.
But hey, I'm crazy too. Fuck it. That's embrace the dude. Oh, totally. I'm a crazy fucking violent maniac, and I just fucking totally own it and pour it into the mod. Bleed on the page. Pour out the brain fluid on the fucking page there, man.
That's what I actually told Matt Grandstaff recently on the Bethesda Net forums. I was telling him violence solves everything. Your games have taught me that.
Yeah. That's it. Well, my mods especially on the violence. Although I will say the violent bites you. The violence that is one thing I tried to get was the nonstop violence. Eventually, does bite you in the ass. But that's. But
I do have one request though. If you do your mods and you make them violent, there is a mod that I think is completely underrated. Even though I know MXR covered it, I haven't checked it recently. After I did it on mine, it's called "Rip a Guy's Arm Off and Beat Him to Death with It." You gotta find a way to incorporate that. It's so seamless. You just punch a dude with unarmed, rip their left arm off, and then you have a left arm weapon in your hand. You beat the shit out of him with it.
That's beautiful. That's art right there, man.
I thought that was I was playing with that, and I was like, why wasn't this in the base game as a perk? Like, why wasn't there like an unarmed perk, and the max level was?
Yeah, if your strength is high enough, fuck it, man.
The worst part about it though is it's sexist. Like fucking Bethesda is sexist. You cannot de-limb women. I don't know if you noticed that in the mod. If you shoot men in the arms, you'll blow their arms off. Women, you can't dismember their arms.
Sounds like a synth conspiracy to me. I think Preston's behind this. If I was to guess, I don't know. That's who knows what the hell to decide this. There are a lot of subtle things in there that, again, the lack of slavery, the lack of prostitution, things like that. That again, I'm like, come on, Bethesda. I know that you're trying to get to a bigger audience, but don't sugarcoat it too much.
That and the kids who are just invincible and stand there the whole time. That's why in my mod I made it so they fight back. I'm like, well, the kids would have like razor blades and baseball bats. They'd beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, there'd be some Lord of the Flies type fucking kids out there, man. They'd kill you for the fucking conch or whatever the fuck. Yeah, they'd stab you to death with that shit.
I think the funniest part in my testing video, I think, is where I didn't realize that some kids were actually like factioned to you, like they'd help you. And I shot like one of the kids just to demonstrate that the kid would pull out a bat and try to fight me. And while that kid was heading at me, another kid came up behind him and just beamed him over the back of the head and killed him. And I was like, damn.
Hey, that's Wasteland, man. That's how it goes. I mean, it's a rough anarchic setting, and I think sometimes Bethesda especially loses touch. I mean, there's plenty of violence, but it's kind of meaningless violence in a way.
Yeah.
But one last thing before I do go, I have a shameless plug because while waiting for the GEC, I've been working in the CK. So I'm about to release a Skyrim mod, Blood of the Nord. It's a Stormcloak mod. People, and it's not like, are you some kind of fascist? You like the Stormcloaks all the time? What the fuck is wrong? I like both factions. It's just a random idea. It was a random mod idea, which is Stormcloaks killing Thalmor. And so that's basically what the mod's about. With some complications and shit along the way. And then I've got another one that I might make. Again, it depends on when Bethesda finishes the fucking GEC. I might make my Beowulf adaptation, which is Thirst Saga. So those are the two I'm working on. One's basically done, except for the voice acting, which is underway, and the other one I'm kind of tinkering with. So that's it for me, man. That's everything I'm working on.
That works. Just I'll put, as usual, I'll put a link to his profile page down below. Check his shit out, like it, subscribe, do whatever. I don't know. That's about it, and I'm going to try to hash this audio together because I think I fucked it completely, and I'm going to be confused.
No worries. And hey, if you need anything else, just give me a holler, man. And again, we'll down the road, maybe we'll collaborate with the alien penis snatching Hitler and Preston, triumvirate, or I guess that would be the ultimate
Honestly,
collection of doom.
I'll make a vow right now, right? This is a solid vow, and I think you should join me on this one. If somehow when we sell mods, if we crack $500,000 in like gross revenue from selling mods, if they do paid modding, I will make an alien penis snatching Hitler artistic mod with you.
Okay, I swear to God, I'll do it. $500,000 gross, I'll do it.
We're in, guys.
You have my word. You have my word.
We'll even do that if it's combined, right? So if I make 250, you make 250. We'll combine. If we make $500,000 between the two of us, we will keep together, and we will definitely make that mod. So, would be really lucky if some millionaires listening just gives us $500,000.
I'll take that. Hey, do it. Yeah, the grass is growing on the ramparts. But I'll fucking do. Yeah, the dog. You want the dog to talk and do backflips? Fucking hey, motherfucker, send me $250,000. It's yours. Whatever you want. You want tentacle rape dildos with Hitler's mustache? I'll fucking do it.
We can't legally sell mods anymore.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean that. I was doing that's satire, fair use, and all that shit. I was actually talking to myself. It's that's a form of that's just introspective dialogue.
We're gonna end it now before Bethesda sues us, guys.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it. Hit and stop.